on this end.
When it starts recording, then I'll start. See, this. Okay, and how did you pronounce your? Well, that's recording, and then I'll just keep. And then we get get the thing started. And how do I train you? Is it just no? Your last name?
What's that?
How do I pronounce that?
You're cutting out. Your voice is cutting out a lot.
Herb.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's better.
Okay.
Okay, and how did you pronounce your last name?
New. Like New
Just
York.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a German name.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting.
We think it got shortened.
Chris speaks here today with Herb, who's running for Senator State House.
What's that?
You're running in the state for Senator State House.
I'm running for State House, State Representative.
And tell me again.
Huh?
District you're in?
27.
And tell me about the incumbent. Who are you running against?
His name is Wes, W-E-S, Kitchens, Kitchens.
How long has he been in this current seat?
1 term.
And did he oust the incumbent?
I can hardly understand what your voice is real garbled when you talk. What was the question again?
Say that again for me. Two voices.
It's like you're talking underwater.
Yeah. So, could you turn your audio down a little bit?
Could I what?
Turn yours down just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I can't. That sounds a lot better. How do I sound?
Good now. I'll let you know what happens as we talk more.
Okay, so Herb New, what makes
Are you talking?
I said, do I know?
I didn't hear the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, what makes Herb a political government?
Once again, it's all garbled. I don't know what's happening to the audio.
I don't know what's wrong with this here. Let me try.
It cuts in and out. You talk, and then there's dead silence, and then it comes in.
Let's see here. I just adjusted my microphone. Is it still coming in?
Yeah, but it's like there's some kind of
an echo.
No, it's not an echo. It's like you're talking underwater.
See, on my end, it sounds like an echo.
Oh, it does? That means, do you have a speaker on somewhere?
You know what? Did we ever sign up a messenger?
Huh? Want to try Messenger? Hang on, let me try something here.
Do we ever in the
Except they don't record. That's the big problem.
That's what it is.
All right, I'm going to try a video call. All right, here's the video call.
Okay.
And then I turn on the camera.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we never ended the messenger call. That's what we needed to do because we was talking to two microphones. We was talking to the microphones and broadcast through the messenger call and through the Skype call.
So what do I do?
Can you hear me?
I heard part of.
Okay, let me turn it.
Yeah, this isn't going to work. Messenger isn't going to work.
The problem was we had both we didn't in the messenger call.
Now you sounded good.
There we go. Now I've turned my audio up. How do I sound to you now?
Good.
Great. Okay. So, and not worry about this, because I can, when I go back, I'll edit it again. But Chris Pete's here this day with Herb New, which is a pretty cool sounding name. He is running for the State House. Herb, tell me about that name.
It goes, I guess, it originates in Germany. My great grandfather came over in the mid 1800s, and we don't know if that's the original name or a shortened version like Newman or something like that. But it's easy. Back during the Vietnam years, I thought I was Vietnamese because of my last name.
So you're a veteran. You served in Vietnam?
I served during the Vietnam era. I spent 4 years and 1 month in service. I was when I first enlisted in the Air Force, they put me in the Air Police Canine Sentry Unit in Wiesbaden, Germany, where I trained my German Shepherd to be a guard dog and an attack dog, and I really enjoyed it. But prior to joining the Air Force, I was a newsman and a radio announcer. And
how did you enjoy that?
I loved it. I had a good time with it. Anyway,
how did you get into that? People love asking the journalism and radio.
Voice. I was taking TV production after I graduated high school. I was learning about TV. And one of my classmates was a well-known radio announcer in Milwaukee, and he told me I ought to go into radio. And there was a new FM station operating out of the basement of a man's home, and I worked for him for free. And he told me if I could sell some ads, he'd pay me a commission. So I sold some ads to my dad for $2 a piece. And I got a commission of, I think it was like 50 cents. But that was my, but that gave me my start. Years later, I was working for Ted Turner. I was consulting for news talk radio stations, worked for ABC twice, and now I'm semi-retired.
Are you originally from Alabama, or you coming from New York?
I was born in Indiana and raised in Milwaukee.
Okay, I can tell the Midwestern. I can see that accent now. So tell me, what makes you want to go to Montgomery?
I don't want to be in politics. It's just the good old boy network, also known as the machine, is corrupt beyond definition. And that's why I'm running. What I'm doing is just exposing some stuff. And if I win, I'll expose even more. We currently have a federal lawsuit against the Marshall County Commissioners for an unconstitutional law that they passed about holding demonstrations, public demonstrations. And that's one thing we're doing. But what got me into it was some neighbors about a half mile from where I live, living on a road. The name of the road is called Shin, S-H-I-N. Next word is P-O-I-N-T, Shin Point Road. The people...
Interesting name.
Huh?
That's an interesting name.
Yeah. So anyway, these people are on a road where it is so bad that emergency vehicles cannot or refuse to go up that road to rescue people with heart attacks, fires, or anything else. And they, quite a few of them don't have safe drinking water. So we went to the county commission because this is their bailiwick. And they said, well, no, that's a private road. And when we showed them evidence that it was a private road, they've been stonewalling us ever since, even though they got COVID funds to totally redo that road. And so I ran for county commissioner because I was pissed off at these people. And now I lost in that one by a landslide, which was expected. And we came up with some more corruption, and I got talked into running again. Basically, if I didn't run, there would be no Democrat opposing West Kitchen. So my name is on there primarily to oppose him and expose him. And I'm not going to publicly expose him here. That's coming.
You know, Rush Limbaugh, whatever everybody thought of him, he made a statement one time that I agreed with 100%. He said, nobody, Democrat, Republican, Socialist, whatever, should run unopposed. The people should always have a choice. So I commend you for getting in that race. So since you know then the corruption and incompetence that is going on in Montgomery.
Yes.
I mean, what we've just got through with this. I got deeply involved in the Public Service Commission race. Did they? I don't know if you follow how close you got to that, but the hidden tax they're putting on the citizens of Alabama. Now, up there, this is in Marshall County. You're telling me people don't have safe drinking water?
What's that?
So this is in Marshall County, where people didn't have safe drinking water. Okay, so your opponent is this. What was that now?
Huh? It's been that way for years, and they've been fighting it. But in the meantime, they have paved roads leading to the privately owned game preserves and fishing camps and all these. Oh, and so much of our land in Marshall County and in the recreation area is owned by shell corporations, not people, but shell corporations. So we have a strong idea that there's a lot of laundered money coming into our county. And also, nationwide, there are almost 5 million military contractors. You know what a military contractor is, Chris?
Yes, sir.
That's a person. That's a person whose qualifications require a high school diploma or a GED equivalent, and that's it. Plus a short security check. and they work out of their homes anywhere from 3 to 5 hours a day, looking over various contracts with anybody having to do with the military. And their starting pay is $70,000, but usually it's well over $100,000 a year to work 3 to 5 hours a day at your computer inside your home. There's over, like I said, there's about 5 million of them. And then you have intelligence contractors, and that's the same deal. And then you have national security agency contractors. You have all kinds of people working out of their homes behind their computers, getting paid out of our defense budget. And if things get really nasty with autocracy, with the Republicans, where the Republicans and the evangelical Christians take over our country, then all these contractors will be the people who will monitor us. Anyone who is against what's going on will be monitored. So that's my theory. So we have a big mess, but the bottom line is it starts local. And I think we are in a real hotbed of problems that have not yet been revealed. Anyway,
you're right. No, you're interested. You want to take a gander at what those guys were making when I was in Afghanistan?
Yeah.
We had, I served in the army. I was in Afghanistan. We had contractors that would come over there, and they were truck drivers, home. So these guys were making $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just, which they took you to pay that, anyone about private, they'd be paying him $25,000, $30,000 a year for the same job. They're paying these guys, $350,000 a year to come over and do that. I didn't know there was that many contractors. 5 million.
What's that?
I didn't know there was that many. We had that many military contractors. But you're right about one statement you said. All politics starts at home. All politics is local. What are the issues that's driving the voters in your district?
What was the question again?
Is there an issue for the voters in your district that are driving them, like the gas tax or the tax the Public Service Commission putting on us? Is there an issue?
No, there's no issue. No, it's a very rural area. People do not follow the news except for what they see on Fox and Newsmax. So they're totally cocooned from anything going on in reality. Totally cocooned.
And
they just don't want to be bothered. They don't want their lifestyle to be bothered. And if they think a Democrat is a communist pedophile, they will believe it. Because they don't want to be bothered with thinking. They just want to have steady lives, predictable lives. And I'm all for that. But by doing that, and by ignoring what their politicians are doing, they're getting thrown under the bus and they don't even know it. They got smiles on their faces. There's people dying of poverty in this district.
When you talked about the COVID money a while ago, have you ever sat down and looked at how that money was wasted? I live in Lupus Fork. They spent $700,000 to build a sidewalk from the school down to the park, and they're walking the sidewalk at night to get some exercise. I said, we have a track around the baseball field that you built the sidewalks in. It was a mile.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the lunch for? But it's really small rural communities. $700,000 that was spent on a sidewalk. It goes nowhere.
Well, that's the other part is, the profiteering that goes on when you send out bids and everybody comes in with a bid that might be a penny or two lower than the other bid. I think they're all in it together, but I don't really. I'll never find proof.
I can, from my own personal opinion, when I've talked to hundreds of people down there, I think they're all in it together and just waiting on somebody else to stab the wrong person in the back. I mean, limbs and stuff have started coming there. And that open with it down there and it's like nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
they're-
Nobody cares. The constituents don't care. They keep voting them in.
you're right.
They keep voting straight
They keep voting.
Republican. So it doesn't matter what they do. They still keep voting straight Republican.
We only had a 23% turnout for the primary and 11% in the runoff.
It was about 3%. It was dumb.
I mean, it was.
And I was opposed to most Democratic candidates, so I went to the polling station, but I didn't fill out a ballot. They call that an undercount because the two candidates for governor are the wrong people for this state, big time. Anyone who wants to run a goddamn state using Jesus as the model, I'm not going to vote for. Sure.
We actually have three candidates. The Libertarian Party's put up a candidate.
Well, yeah, the one good candidate gave up. He was so appalled at the way people were. He decided he's not going to fight. His name is Chad Martin. He's a good man. He would have been a
Chad. We follow each other on Twitter. I was supposed to speak to him back last winter and just could never get together. He was from South Alabama, correct?
What's that?
Chad was from South Alabama?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're Facebook friends.
Enterprise. I think it was Enterprise.
Yeah, and now what we've got here, so you got, the Democrat. What is how did you run when you ran for county commissioner? I'm assuming you ran as a Democrat then too.
Yeah. Now,
So what is that?
A bit about my history in politics. First time I ever voted was after Kennedy was assassinated, and I voted for LBJ. Wait, no, I didn't. I had two write-in candidates. For president, I wrote in Ralph Nader. And for vice president, I wrote in Dick Gregory. You can Google them. And and throughout, and that was the first time I ever voted. I voted for write-ins. And Barry Goldwater was running against LBJ, and I wasn't too happy with either. Barry Goldwater wanted to drop the A-bomb on Hanoi. And the Vietnam War was one of the greatest boondoggles ever launched on Americans and on Vietnamese. We were fighting for the wrong side.
In the Vietnam War?
Yeah. It was a civil war. And it was people fighting against the communists. Guess who was fighting against the communists? The people wearing black pajamas. Those are the people we were out shooting and killing. Just so you know. So politics, money, power, all that stuff. But getting back to it, I forgot the question.
I asked you.
It wasn't until, so I sort of got involved in politics back in the 70s. I got involved with an independent candidate named John Anderson. He lost, but I learned a lot. I learned how nasty politics is because as an independent, he had to go through a lawsuit in each and every state in the United States in order to even be on the ballot.
So 1980.
He failed whenever. I don't know what year it was. I think it was the 70s. And then, so he failed. When I was newsman, go ahead.
Yeah, so what has happened to the Democratic Party? the Democratic Party in the state, what does it need to do to get back to where you have candidates filling the tickets from top to bottom with quality people?
Democratic, George Wallace was a Democrat, you know.
Yes.
But what happened was when LBJ, when we had the Civil Rights Act, all the Democrats turned Republican in Alabama.
Yeah, that was the story. Yeah.
So.
Because Governor only carried what, Arizona, Alabama, Mississippi, and
yeah,
another state.
They all turned Republican. But no, they're not racist. So, so the first time I ever joined a party was when I moved to Alabama. And I don't know, it might have been 2016, something like that. And so I don't consider myself anything. I hate labels. People use labels to argue with. You're a Democrat. You're a commie. You know, it's bullshit.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I did an article about that. If I heard another Republican say they was pro-Trump, pro-Second Amendment, a Christian conservative, I was going to just say to the face. It's Alabama. Every Republican is going to say that.
It's crazy. So I'm pretty
so there is a machine in Montgomery, and we touched on that earlier, and this thing's got to be busted up. I mean, I thought that the candidate that I was pulled for in the primary, I thought for sure there was going to be a PSC race, and the
machine has been around since the 1800s, and it starts in the University of Alabama and some of the others. That's the origin of the machine. And then when they graduate and they get into politics, that's how it grew. It started in the universities, and it's still as strong as ever. I've seen the student government, which is generally run by the machine. I've seen them put businesses out of business because that business might have protested something that the students have done. I've seen all this. You know, it's a very, very, the South is run by corporatists. The South's political system is what I call the plantation class. Anybody not part of it is not considered to be as human as they are, and therefore they get thrown under the bus. Alabama is this way because they wanted to attract business. They got the garments workers, and they got all this stuff, lower wages, and then they found cheaper wages in China, Bangladesh, India. That's where all the jobs went. That's where all the paying jobs went because it was cheaper. So Alabama politicians basically are in the pocket, are getting all their money. For example, my opponent has over $100,000 war chest for a district that has maybe close to 45,000 residents. And of that,
100,000.
Over $100,000. And I would say between 95 and 98% of all that money came from special interests, selfish interests, very few individuals. Until he recently got married, and then he got a lot of individual donations all at once. So I haven't been fundraising at all, but I'm about to. I have some friends in Illinois who are working on a website for me. They're working on campaign material for me, and they're doing it pro bono because I don't have money to spend on this campaign.
And if you did come up with some money, pour more and more and more on top of
Yeah.
Some candidates,
So,
they're just going to just keep on. So if you say you come up with $50,000, they've come up with another $150,000 for the opponent.
right.
I mean, I just think that in this PSC race, they were not going to let Brent Woodall, Robert Lineker, or Robert McCollum take those seats away. I mean, when you're fighting a $700,000 war chest for Public Service Commission seat.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the Public Service Commission, but I'll say one thing about public service. It should not be privatized. Period.
That's a great quote. That is a great quote. It should not be public service should not be privatized.
Right.
What about the article? I'll have to put that on there.
Nor should health insurance.
What about health insurance?
Used to be it was mandatory for health insurance to be nonprofit. Now they call themselves nonprofit, but when the head of it is making $10 million a year, I don't think.
I went to the a doctor put me on 4 prescriptions. I took them to CVS. It was going to be $1,000. I took it to Walmart, and it was less than 90.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what the answer is with the healthcare issue. So, let me ask you this. If you get to Montgomery, what would be the first bill you would introduce?
What would be what?
The first bill you would introduce.
I have no idea at this point.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm going to listen. That's what I'm doing now. For example, agribusiness. The big ag companies are killing the family farms in Alabama. And so is Alpha. They come on all warm and fuzzy. Yeah, we're helping the small farmer. It's bullshit. And you talk to organic farmers around here, it's even worse than that. So, what can I say? Five meat packers pack up, process all the meat, almost 90% of all the meat you find in your supermarket comes from just 5 sources, 5 major corporations. Agriculture is in the hands of less than a dozen major Wall Street agricultural corporations. They own the seeds, they own the fertilizer, they own, you name it. And they own a lot of the land. So, this is what's happening, and this is why you hear the word autocrat, autocracy, oligarchy, oligopoly. Oligopoly is where 3 or 4 unrelated businesses get together and they pool their ideas and their pricing and all that. So all of us complacent people who don't like reading the news, they're going to have some real serious stuff happening within the next 5 or 10 years unless people start demanding that their political elected figures keep their oaths of office, because right now a whole bunch of them are not in any way. So I want, basically, if I win, should I win, that would be number 1, oath of office. Everybody would be, I'd call them on it. I have people helping me who are investigative journalists like you, and they're digging, they're connecting the dots, and it's, I don't expect to win. If I don't win, I'm just going to be nice and quiet like everyone else, because I'm tired of this shit. I'm just doing it because there's too much shit going on. And all it takes is one voice to make other people comfortable about raising their voices. So I'm just one voice. I'm the fall guy in a way. When I see someone attack a fellow candidate somewhere, like We have an amazing guy running for sheriff against somebody who I think has less character and integrity. And if somebody attacks him, I do a ton of fact checking. And I don't open my mouth until I know what I'm talking about. So,
yeah, I've had some people come in and stuff and say, hey,
yeah.
And I'm like, well, wait a second, I'm not writing this until I cross my T's and dot my I's.
Right. So,
yeah,
the way I found out about military contractor, I just Googled it. What is the job of a military contractor? Hey, guess what? It's not building arms. It's about paperwork. That's it.
I've never even Googling that. What?
Google military contractors. That'll tell you how many there are. Then Google intelligence contractors and get blown away.
Okay, I'll be sure to look that up.
We got Big Brother.
So there's 5.
Huh?
We got Big Brother. So what do you think about the second, the concealed carry weapon law that we just got repealed?
Well, it's stupid. Period. It isn't.
The law, the permit law was stupid, or it was stupid to repeal it?
All gun laws in Alabama are fucking stupid. How's that?
Okay. What?
We are the only country. We're the only free country on the planet that has these whatever mass shootings. We're the only one on the planet having this problem. Why? Because we allow assault weapons to be purchased. They shouldn't be anywhere in this country except in the hands of our military. Period. It's that simple. And around here, we're always hearing AR-15s and whatnot firing. Jesus Christ, it's crazy. Target practice, shooting cats and dogs.
Shooting animals?
They'll shoot anything they can just to watch them explode from a little .22 round. Ever see an AR-15? Ever see the damage of an AR-15?
I have an AR-15, but I've never shot anything with it.
Well, just try shooting anything. Shoot a watermelon once. See what happens. That's what happens to a head. That's what happens to a body. That's what happened to all those kids in Uvalde. They were unrecognizable, the dead kids. They were unrecognizable. So, Alabama is really fucking stupid to have open carry. Because the wrong guys. And I've seen guys walk with their AR-15s, big fat shits. Shit. And chances are they were bullied in high school and they have a. Phew. Anyway, that's what makes me angry. That's why I'm running. I'm angry. I'm disgusted. What?
Are you disgusted with the current governor? Or some of the things Governor Abbey's done?
Huh?
The gas tax. How do you feel about that?
Gas tax?
Yeah.
Well, the key is, where does the money go? If it's going for good stuff, we need it. And that's what this country is all about in the first place. The first thing everybody should be doing is taking care of the most vulnerable. Once we take care of the most vulnerable, handicapped, mentally disabled, whatever, elderly people, sick people, once they're taken care of, we can get on with our business. It used to be this way. And it used to be that these multi-billion, trillion-dollar corporations, instead of getting charged 27%, and even then they don't pay that. Back when I was coming up, it was 91%, and everybody was happy. And I'm talking the big companies.
Yeah.
That's where our road
Let me ask you something. I know you said earlier you don't like labels, and but I don't want you to get angry at me. Would it be fair to say you're a socialist?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'm a realist.
A realist. Okay. I was wondering, I
think, why do you ask if I'm a socialist? Because I care about other people. I souls, not bodies.
No, but the things you were describing fall up under a socialistic platform. For the way it's been taught.
Do you know what democratic socialism is?
I could not give you the definition of that. No, I couldn't.
All right. Here's what I would say, because you need to know this. Google it. Google democratic socialism. You know, literally starting right after the big crash of 1929, this country became, under Roosevelt, a democratic socialist country. And that's good, not bad. That's where the president back then was pushing for health care for all. Roosevelt, and then Truman, and then Eisenhower, who was a Republican, everyone was pushing for health care for all, Medicare for all. They didn't use that term then. Free education for all. Taxpayers pay for public colleges and public schools. It was free.
Just one problem we're running into there for her. They don't make free money. Somebody's got to pay for it.
Yes, that's what taxes do. You pool your funds and you dole it out equally. And you still have tons and tons and tons of revenue left over after taking care of these basics. Basic education, basic health care. What else? Oh, and if the public utilities were not privatized, we'd have top of the line technology, and we'd have very low water rates and very low electric rates. You don't need, you buy your shit from private industry, your parts, your construction, all this. But the process itself should not be a for-profit process when it is designed to serve nothing but the public. In other words, if the public has to pay for it, why put a profit on water? Why put a profit on any necessity in life?
That was one of the things that was going on. I'll tell you real quick. Is the PSC that got me so passionately involved.
By the way, those views, those are not the views you will be hearing from me. I'm just giving you my deepest thoughts. But you won't hear any of that shit when I'm in Montgomery if I get there. Because all I'm going to do, I'm going to be the honesty kind. I am going to watch who is getting money from whom, and I'm going to call them out. And I'm also going to go to their donors, and I'm going to call them out.
So, what do you think of Marx and Engels?
Who?
Karl Marx.
Not much, you know. And when you talk communism, are you referring to Russian or China or anything like that? Because guess what?
Those were not communist nations on.
That's not communism. That is not communism of any kind. That was power mad people taking over. They were oligarchs. You got to look up all these big words I'm using. Otherwise, you're not understanding where I'm coming from.
No, you get me on that one. I never
But
heard that
these
one
guys
before,
were
so that was
autocrats. Putin is an oligarch. He's not a goddamn communist, never was. He's an oligarch. You know, he's the 1% of Russia. He controls trillions of dollars of illicit money. Are you a member of the IC, International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, ICIJ?
I am not.
Join it. Have you heard of the Pandora Papers? Have you read the Pandora Papers yet?
I've not read the Pandora Papers.
Better. Look it up. Look it up. You'll be as mad as I am. And no, I'm not a fucking communist. And I don't know anyone in the past who was ever a fucking communist, including the fucking communists. It was just another fucking power grab. It had nothing to do with treating people right.
Well, okay. Then let me see if I can rephrase the question. How would you describe Marx's form of government?
I don't know. There was no Marx form of government. It was an autocracy. Look up the word. It was a dictatorship, and it still is, and it always has been. Same with China. It just looks a little different. They call it communism, but it ain't even close to communism. It's an oligarchy. That's what's happened, and that's what the evangelicals are trying, and the Tea Party and some of the others are trying to do to the United States. In other words, do as we say or fuck you. That is what's happening to the United States today.
By the evangelicals and the Tea Party.
Votes don't count. That's why they're calling it voter fraud. Votes don't count anymore to these people. All they want is the power over us, power over everything. And a lot of it is Wall Street.
Let me ask you, sir.
Wall Street used to be the tail of the dog. Now it is the dog. It controls the government.
Let me ask you this question. You said a while ago that you wanted the AR-15 should only be hands in the military. But then if these people are in power, wouldn't that be the wrong thing to do, is to give just the government AR-15s? Wouldn't that be the wrong answer for the government to have control of all the weapons?
No. Not even close.
But these are the people
did you say that if they're in power, they're going to hand out a lot of weapons? Is that what you asked?
What I said, no, that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, you said a while ago, and I don't want to misquote you, that people shouldn't have AR-15s.
They should not be allowed in the United States. Yes, that's what I would say. For any reason.
Okay. But the military should have control of this. So this oligarchy are going to be the only people with weapons.
No, the goddamn government has control over arms, not the military. Don't forget, our military is ruled by civilians, namely the voters.
Sure. We have civilian leadership over the military. You're correct.
It's a civilian-run military. And we elect people to oversee everything in government. Government oversees the military. We, the people, vote people in to oversee the military, banking, you name it. That's what.
Let me show you this. Let me ask you about this scenario. And because we've seen it 1,000 times in other countries. What if the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff ordered our military to go and arrest the president and the Congress?
What?
You could have a coup right there.
What do you mean? I didn't hear that.
But I said, we've seen this happen in other countries. What if the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff ordered the military to go in and arrest the president and Congress? I mean, you could have a coup that quick.
I don't know. I wouldn't have an answer to that.
Well, it was just a hypothesis scenario I was playing out in my head back when the January 6th stuff happened.
Yeah, I mean, you know, our Constitution is set up for checks and balances. In other words, if something looks too weird, we balance it out. Right now, we are suffering from an imbalance due to social media and Cambridge Analytica. Ever hear of Cambridge Analytica and Steve Bannon and the Mercer family? Ever hear of them?
Oh, yeah, I know exactly who they are.
All right, good. I'm glad. So that's what we are facing the consequences of that. All this misinformation, Newsmax, QAnon, Fox, all those. And fortunately, because of what they did while Trump was screaming fake news and fraudulent election, these people are going to be sued right out of business. That's Fox is already scrambling, and so is Newsmax. So and QAnon, they will be sued for billions. Dominion, the voting machine company, is suing Fox, Newsmax. I forgot all the others, but they're suing all of them, and they're going to win. They're going to win, and they're going to put these assholes out of business. That's my prediction.
And do you think the vote was rigged?
What's that?
You think the vote was rigged, that Trump actually won?
Ooh, I didn't hear the first part of your question.
Did you think the voting was rigged, that Trump actually won?
Never. You know why? You know why? It's impossible. It's fucking impossible to have wide-scale voting fraud. I was a poll worker for years before I even, you know, and the only way you can have voter fraud is if the poll workers inside that little building where people walk in to vote would be if they were all on the same side and they all wanted one person to win. That's never ever happened. They can't do it. It's fucking impossible. And if you do get caught in voting fraud, your ass is fucking grass. You're dead. Okay? Nobody is going to try committing voting fraud if they know anything about the system of voting. Impossible. Period.
You weren't living here in 1998, right? You said you moved here in 2016.
I didn't.
Check out the 1998 sheriff. You moved here in 2016?
For some reason, I'm not hearing you. Words. I hear the voice, but not the words.
You said you moved here in 2016?
I moved to Alabama in '94.
Do you remember the sheriff's race between Mike Woodward or Jim Woodward and Mike Hale?
No, I wasn't here then. I was. Living in Tuscaloosa. I didn't move here until 2012, I think.
Okay. Look that up sometime.
I used
No,
to.
that's that was just a share.
I used to publish a magazine of Southern history. So
Did you really?
yeah,
What was the name?
almost 15 years. I did it in Tuscaloosa. It was called. It started Old Tuscaloosa. County. Then it became Old Tuscaloosa, and then it was Tuscaloosa Magazine, and
Did a guy named Randy Berry help deliver those? Did you have a guy named Randy Berry help distribute those?
I think so. Oh,
He's a very good friend of mine. He used to talk about going and helping his friend. passed out this magazine down in Tuscaloosa. So I remember him talking about that.
I'll be darned. Yeah, I used to do that. And that incidentally is where I learned. I'm doing all these stories. And I didn't write about generals. I wrote about everyday people who happened to, volunteer for the Civil War. And this is when and all these guys, all these sons of Confederate veterans. So it wasn't about slavery; it was about state rights. And I bought. That, but it wasn't about. It was the state right to legalize slavery, is what it was. But I learned a lot. So whenever I would. We would have stories about blacks getting in trouble. But I would never refer to their race. I would just refer to a name or a person. So when people thought it was a white guy, they thought, oh, that was so unjust. But if it was a black guy, they would have said he deserved it. So this is where I learned about the racism in Alabama. And then I learned about the state constitution. Which is one of the big
It's
jokes.
the longest in the world.
Huh?
It's the longest one in the world.
Yeah. Huge joke. So I got involved at that time with the Chamber of Commerce, hoping we could come up with a new state constitution. No way. No way. So everybody here is stuck with opinions and very little facts. That's how it works in
You plan on doing any door campaigning?
Huh?
Are you going to go knock on doors campaigning?
Yep. If it's not too hot.
Retail politics.
I've had lung cancer and I've had bladder cancer. So and the heat isn't too good for me if I'm knocking on doors. But I have some good alternatives coming up.
So you said that you beat lung cancer and beat bladder cancer?
Yep.
Wow, that's
I got a real good story. I've smoked cigarettes since I was 9 years old, and I tried a million times to try to quit, and I couldn't. And one day I saw in the Tuscaloosa News a story about a new medication called Chantix, and I get my health care from the Veterans Administration. So I called them, and they had just been approved for it, and I was their first patient. And so I took Chantix for, I think it was 10 days, and goddamn, I had no more cravings for cigarettes. And I finally, for the first time in my life, I quit. And about a month after quitting, I was so thrilled, I wrote him a letter praising them, thanking them. And a week or two later, they called me back asking if I'd like to do a commercial. So if you go to YouTube and do a search, Herb Chantix, you'll see my TV commercial.
I'll do that.
3 years after the commercial, I was diagnosed with lung cancer, stage 3A. And the next step was 3A.
Small cell or small cell?
Non-small. I was like a fraction away from stage 4, which is always fatal. But the survival rate for my stage 3A was like 14%. And here I am 11 years later. But 3 years ago, I was diagnosed.
And she got lung cancer 35 years after she quit smoking.
Yeah. I got
she quit at 45 after 70.
It's horrible. So I went through the chemo and all that stuff. And then 3 years ago, went to take a leak, and I was clean blood, and that was bladder cancer. And I have two more. That was 3 years ago. I have two more treatments. And I am cancer free, but they just want to make sure. So I'm lucky.
Man, I mean, well, yeah. Let me tell you, real quick how I quit smoking. It was 3 years ago. It was right at the start of COVID, and that had nothing to do with it. I quit. But I smoked my last cigarette one night, and I said, well, I'm going to go to the store. I'm just going to get something tomorrow. And I woke up the next day, and I had just lost every craving, every taste. And I just never went bought another pack of cigarettes.
Wow.
I crave one since then.
I still get cravings once in a while. Yeah.
I've not had one. Not had one. Even I thought if I had, a direct or something, I'd get a credit. Never. Not once.
All right.
That's about all the questions I got. I'd like to talk to you when we stop recording though for a minute about
Sure.
Some. Journal.
Definitely, Chris. Look up ICIJ, International Consortium for Investigative Journalists. And I got some others. I'll email you. My fact-checking sites, they're really awesome.
I started writing simple stuff, paragraphs and stuff on Facebook, and my friend Bob actually said, said, you missed your college, you love this, so why don't you start writing? And so I purchased a website, and then I started writing something every day. And I had already been interviewing people on YouTube because I got hurt and couldn't work. So then I started going in. Interviewing politicians, and running for office. And nobody with any type of name recognition would talk to me, which I think is incredibly. Simple because you don't know what somebody's going to be. And Troy King was the first person to sit down and talk to me. And I talked to them for an hour and a half. And then, now I've got 55 members on the side, another 105 subscribers. The YouTube channel is almost 500 people, over 1,000 viewers on ours, and it continues to grow every day. So I think that was incredibly stupid by some of these people because you throw me to the walls and you return in the back.
Yeah.
So during this time right here, I've tried to reach out to anybody that would let me interview them. All the little guys who never get a chance to be heard. I want to let them tell their story.
Wow. Well, yeah, I get pretty emotional over what's. Happening. It's
Well, that's why.
it's pretty bad. It's worse than that. Yeah, and plus you got climate change. change, and that's a whole other thing. That's going to be the big elephant in the. Room very soon. Already is in some spots. You have almost 1 billion people ready to die of starvation and thirst, right? Today, you know, it's interesting. It's interesting. Oh. Hey, Jalen. All right.